free to have, you can utilize a drink on the table, have us. Oh, okay. You're already seated, that's good. So I work with the Chevening Scholarship in Uganda. My other colleagues will introduce themselves.
Hello, Mariam. Congratulations upon this journey, reaching here. Because the British High Commission.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations again. Just adding my voice to what my other colleagues have said. My name is Chevening 2016.
Thank you.
My name is I just landed the other day for the secretariat. Yeah.
You had
Most
us
welcome.
a light. Thank you, Mariam. Thank you, colleagues. So, Mariam, icebreaker, could you introduce yourself and tell us why you chose Chevening?
Thank you so much, Maureen, for that question. I would just like to begin by saying I'm really happy and glad to be here in this room. This alone, I feel, is one for the record books in my life. My name is Mariam Ichilet Arikosi. I'm a 22-year-old Ugandan who has recently finished a Bachelor of Science in Gender and Applied Women Health at Murray University of Science and Technology, where I'll be graduating this 28th of May 2022 at the top of my class. I am someone who is very committed to leadership, and I've used leadership as a tool to advance different societal improvements and goals by working with different people. And I have recently completed my term as a guild president of my university, that is called MAST in abbreviation, where I was the second female to hold this position in the over 33 years of its existence. And I've had various other leadership roles that I'll probably get to share with you as time goes on. I am equally in love with education, and I call myself proudly a lifelong student. And I invest in doing different short courses through Coursera, where I so far have over 4 courses. And I'm currently doing about 3 in the field of women health. And I'm someone who loves research because I believe in, generating new knowledge and working together with different people to bring about things that are unknown. And currently, luckily, I'm going to be presenting 2 of my abstracts, 3 specifically, actually, at the Network Towards Unity for Health 2022 conference in Canada. One of these was my undergraduate research dissertation, and the other things I have been pursuing over the years. I feel very strongly about this particular opportunity because it's going to help me leverage not only my own attributes, but also grow by being in a room with people such as yourself and the vast Chevening network. And I know for a fact I'll be able to contribute to my society and the globe as a whole.
Thank you. So could you come again, why Chevening? That's it.
You asked me to tell you about myself
And why Chevening?
and where Chevening.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. Chevening, as we all know, you more than I do, that Chevening is a vast and rich network that brings together very esteemed and honorable individuals from all parts of the world, all countries and all ethnicities. And as someone who has a passion for medical anthropology, where we study and invest in all kinds of people from their different niches, I know for a fact that the Chevening network gives me a platform to literally rub shoulders with leaders and the elite in the entire world. So Chevening will give me a chance to infiltrate this very strong niche community. I have even as I was applying for the scholarship, I had an experience to just feel the commitment that Cheveners have. As I was applying for the scholarship, I encountered various Cheveners who came to assist alumni from different parts of the country to be able to apply to launch award-winning applications. And that also literally bled into the applicants. Even while we aren't official Cheveners, seeing the commitment from the Cheveners made us work together. Being here, I know for a fact is largely supported by my fellow applicants who we had been working together with during this whole time. And I'm wondering if before even entering the alumni network, we were disconnected by virtue of being infected by the Chevening virus. I wonder what more would happen when we actually become Cheveners. It means that we're going to work together to advance our different aspirations. Secondly, Chevening is a network that is very committed to choosing people from all walks of life. No one is left behind. whatever your age, whatever your ethnicity, whatever your race, we all have an equal chance of having this platform. And I know for a fact that that inclusivity that Chevening has would literally add to who I am already and make me even more than I could fathom right now.
Thank you very much. Could you give us an example of your leadership experience and how it made an impact in your community?
Thank you very much, Nori, for that question. This question just makes me nostalgic, and I go down memory lane to late 2018 when at 12 years old, sadly got pregnant. And by then I was 19, and at 19 I couldn't even picture myself being with child. When that happened, I was provoked to do even more research on the status of teenage pregnancy in my country, and I found that in 2018 alone, from the National Population Survey, there were over 23,000 teenage pregnancies. And we all know what the scourge of the COVID-19 pandemic has done. They have only gotten more. So in that year, having seen the large numbers of these pregnancies, whereby in my district, Palisa district, it was among the highest districts in the country that had teenage pregnancies, I set forth on a journey to organize a sexual reproductive health outreach in my area, specifically in Gogonyo sub-county, to see how to bring these services closer to the locals in my area. So in this journey, I approached and persuaded the district health officer and the deputy district health officer Matano in Palisa district to support me and endorse my vision to organize this outreach. And wonderfully, they agreed. And in agreeing, I got even more emboldened to go and approach other local SRH, which is sexual reproductive health service providers in the eastern region to come and work with me. And I managed to convince Reproductive Health Uganda to support me and bring, being that they have the actual experts in these services. And also I got funding from Intra Health Eastern region, where they gave us logistical support to have the outreach. Not only that, because I knew that this was a venture for us as students to really have a feel of the lived experience of people. By virtue of me studying from Mbarara University, which is in Western Uganda, I convinced my fellow students in Western Uganda, Mass specifically, to join me and travel all the way to Eastern Uganda and participate in this outreach. And these were over 40 students from diverse programs, that was medicine, nursing, pharmacy, gender and women health, and even accountants. So we all went to Palisa district in January 14, 2019, and gave services to over 400 people. These services included family planning services, cervical cancer screening, STI, which is sexually transmitted infection screening and treatment. We equally gave health education programs and also advanced better menstrual hygiene management information to the different people around. And I must say that even while there is still an outrageous number of teenage pregnancies, something was done, a seed was planted, and I have consistently gone back to keep energizing my locals to be able to embrace better sexual reproductive health lifestyles. Yes.
Would you like to change, if you had a chance, would you change anything about the project, and did you have any challenges?
Yes, I did have challenges, and as someone who is invested in working in communities, there are always different challenges here and there. As a whole, I'm really proud and excited of what we managed to do. But of course, going forward, there are some things that I will do differently. The biggest challenge I faced was in logistics. So initially, with money to be able to pay for the accommodation and allowances of the different students and health professionals, which with confirmation also pushed me to tell this information, to convey the information to the different people. So having told them that many of them came for the outreach with the knowledge that they were going to be reimbursed in their feeding and accommodation.
But sadly, because I believe it was because I was a student and I was dealing with technocrats which didn't reach me, and I couldn't be able to reimburse the different students. So I had to personally incur the cost of their accommodation and their feeding, which at the time was a very overwhelming cost, and it really crippled me. And I believe for others, they may have been demoralized to do this again. So in the future, I believe I would start the planning process even earlier. I would approach even more possible funders and at least have a plethora of options to see how to organize a better outreach. But at the same time, possibly I would not communicate to the people who are going to work with me all the information until I probably have access to the resources. So I would not communicate a hope, but an actual confirmed money in my account. Yes.
Thank you so much. Quick follow-up. Where did you get that money? The one that, because I'm sure the students were like, you told us. So where? I'm curious. Where did you get that money?
Yes. So from the moment I joined the university, I have been invested in voluntary work. And within my first week of joining the university as an undergraduate, I began voluntary work at an organization called Domestic Peace Foundation Uganda, which deals with supporting victims and even perpetrators of domestic violence to really reconcile and have a better life. And within this organization, I had been working right from first year, and I organized this outreach in my second year, first semester. So I had been making some income from that, from the activities we were doing. But at the same time, I had been working in various other projects. There was the notable She Decides project that was funded by Reproductive Health Uganda, which actually helped me to quickly get the support from RHU Eastern, because I already had a network within RHU. So that network of RHU, which is Reproductive Health Uganda and Barara, I used the manager to equally contact the Eastern manager to be able to support me fully. So that's how I leveraged that network. But also in that project, we were doing various activities with bringing family health services closer to the students and the nearby community. And through the different activities, I would make a considerable income. And by virtue of having visionary thoughts of how this money may be of use to me in the future, I saved this money. And I knew that I would have an event or a program that I would use this income for. And that's how I chose to invest the money I had earned to give back to people around me.
Wow. Thank you for that. That's quite a difficult situation. Yeah, because money is very, very key, especially when you're saving for something else. You talked about the different networks that you leveraged. Can you share an example of how you have been able, of course, in addition to what you've already shared, any other example that you want to share with us? Because as you very well know, Chevening, we are big on networking. Please.
Thank you so much. Personally, all the different achievements I have done, which I recently launched my personal website. You can quickly just go and look at it. It's called mariam.com. All the different projects and achievements I have done, which are in that website, I know for a fact were due to leveraging the networks, individuals, and organizations that I had worked with. And not only those I had worked with, but even the people who I knew, I would use their contacts to advance whatever I was working on. So if, let's say, I knew access to, I will this contact to be able to reach out to her other networks that I may not directly be linked with. So everything I have done, I cannot reduce or diminish the influence of my networks. I'm going back to 2020. At the time, I was in the thick of campaigns for guild presidency in my university, and I had made various investments. And at that very moment, 1 week to exactly 5 days to the election date, this is when the COVID-19 pandemic decides to hit the world. And on Friday, 20th March 2020, all universities, all learning institutions were closed in Uganda. So we were all told to go back home, and we didn't know for how long this would be. So at that time, even with the uncertainty, I thought about going home and probably missing out on a chance to be at the front line or do something during this pandemic. So I chose to stay behind in Imbara. We live in Palisa, Eastern Uganda. So in staying behind, there was a lot of ignorance about the COVID-19 pandemic that most people were unaware of what was going on. So I set forth on a project to organize a documentary. The documentary would showcase the experiences of Ugandan folk in the wake of the COVID pandemic. And this brought about thoughts from the academia, frontline health workers, students who had stayed behind, some COVID-19 survivors at that time. To even be infected by COVID-19, there was a lot of stigma at that time. Then also people living with disabilities, PWDs. So this documentary, which I eventually presented at the TAF, that is the Network Towards Unity for Health 2021 conference, which is in their website, the documentary made me reach out to the director of the hospital in Bara, the regional referral hospital, which was serving the entire southwestern Uganda, and I asked him if he could work with me to have his response to the documentary. He said he could not, but he connected me to the head of the COVID-19 task force in the hospital, who is currently Dr. Rose Muhindo. And with his endorsement as well, he connected me to the DHO of Mbarara, Dr. Sebutinde. So in the documentary, I got their responses. Now, fast forward to 2021, when thankfully I succeeded as the guild president of my university. There was a second lockdown, so I believe if I had not met them in the first lockdown when I was having a documentary, maybe I would have had a different outcome, because that would have been my first introduction to them. So that is how I have leveraged networks to bring about different programs. So when I make a network, I do not take for granted what more they can add to me. I won't only stop at that initial request. I will keep in touch with you and offer value to you, but at the same time being aware that I may need you in the future. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you. It's exciting to know about what you have achieved. And I'm keen to ask, how is your career plan like?
Thank you so much. The beauty of the Chevening network, just by virtue of you even asking that question, I know it stems from the Chevening community being committed and invested in advancing the aspirations of different people as the potential alumni. And I know for a fact that by virtue of sharing this with you, it's even more likely to happen. And I'm grateful for that. As I said earlier, I am currently, I probably did not, but I am currently, the fourth one has slowly slipped my mind, but I'll mention it later. Yes. So this organization is going to really feed off the skills I will make within the UK, the networks I will have galvanized and fostered within the UK. So using that knowledge and skills, I'll also be able to work closely with my colleagues to advance this organization. And specifically, we are very committed to rural areas, areas that do not have access to all these different services, areas that are usually forgotten or miss out on programs because they are harder to reach. We have seen programs focusing on easy to reach areas. So usually these areas are forgotten. Additionally, within my midterm, I am someone who is very, like I say, into leadership, and there is no way I can literally ignore my own passion and my DNA, honestly, in leadership. And also, in my long term, invest in having a PhD. So even while I will be I feel that having the skills and that knowledge of a PhD will equally give me more overwhelming influence, not only within my country, but in the entire globe. We have seen examples of people like Dr. Winnie Byanyuma, who is actually an aeronautical engineer, but is currently the executive director of UNAIDS. But she's advancing various global agendas, even with that influence. So I know for a fact that having the intellect and the expertise coupled with it's a force to reckon with. And I would like to be part of such a community where I merge both and I make decisions that definitely benefit those around me.
We can go then
follow-up question.
Yes.
Talks about
Okay, one more follow-up question. So you mentioned how various female were PhD. So how are you going to do it?
Yes. Thank you very much, Noreen. Even while I have mentioned those individuals, there are few. It's something that I know it's not going to be an easy milestone to overcome. But I believe, first of all, seeing these examples, women like me, from Uganda like me, from humble backgrounds like me, this firstly gives me the zeal, the confidence, and that stamina, knowing that it is possible. It is possible. And most of the things that we as leaders do don't come easy. I don't expect to have an easy road, but at least I know that with commitment, with determination, and with the right family around you, the Chevening family around me, I know it will be possible. So definitely, I will need to utilize skills in leadership like delegation, empowering those around me to do what I do, planning my time, and ensuring that everything is in order. So even when I'll be pursuing that PhD, I'll ensure that those around me are empowered to do certain things even in my absentia. I'll ensure that I have been able to delegate to people who I have mentored and strengthened within their skills to have the confidence that they can do it. But at the same time, I'm going to surround myself with a family of committed, supportive, motivational, and inspirational people. And I think that if I have the Chevening network behind me, I feel like I have already ticked all those boxes. Because imagine having a network that has people in various parts of the world who have achieved big dreams, even when it was impossible. Recently, there was a Chevening in Nigeria who brought up a library in her rural area for the village children to be able to read. I know it wasn't easy, but the headline says, Chevening brings about a local library in her village. It seems easy for us who are seeing it, but us as leaders, I know it wasn't easy. But I believe that the support of the Chevening family makes the impossible possible.
Thank you very much, Mariam. You see, you're so excited about being in the community. So, why did you choose the UK? Where do you want to study in the UK?
That's a very beautiful question. And I call it beautiful because when I think of the UK, it's just abounding in beauty. Beauty in various aspects. The UK in itself has values that I personally appreciate. The UK has one of the most democratic cultures in the entire globe. They are an exemplary community. And that democracy is actually shared with the rest of the world. So I want to go to the UK before I get to my academic pursuits. I am inspired to come to the UK because it's a country that has welcomed number of the world areas that have been affected. The UK has openly welcomed them, and Europe as a whole, which the UK belongs to. I would like to be a part, have an experience of such a community that welcomes people from different races, backgrounds, cultures, ethnicities. They are all in the UK. The UK houses the most international students in the entire world. So as someone who, in my country, I used to wonder, whenever they would call international students, I would wonder, who are these people? Because for us in Uganda, we are the natives. So I wonder how it feels to equally be an international student in a country that already has that welcome, that open door policy, that welcoming nature, and literally commit to the comfort of the different people. Even as I was applying to my universities, I must tell you that the feedback from the staff of the universities, they are constantly in my emails, constantly on my WhatsApp, asking if I need any help. This is what the UK does. And I know for a fact that even in my undergraduate university, we need to borrow that example of them going an extra mile to make people comfortable. And that's just the few people I have encountered with when I'm still in Uganda. What more is going to happen when I get there? So one, that's democracy, that's welcoming of all people from different walks of life, even and support them. But at the same time, the UK's education system is one that literally makes all other countries envious. We are all dying with envy at how the UK system runs. It focuses more on critical thinking, it focuses on problem solving, it focuses also on research. Most universities so that's very amazing for me as an individual who is invested in leadership, democracy, and also academia. So those are the three main reasons as to why I would like to go to the UK. But beyond that, I love adventure and having that experience of being in a new place, seeing different things, making memories and experiences. I feel is a once in a lifetime opportunity that's only the Chevening body can give me, fully funded, fully supported. All I have to do is go, study, make the networks, get the skills, and I am fully supported to make that a reality. And I know for a fact that Chevening is also funded by the UK government. So the UK government, like I said, has invested its resources to actually support people like myself. I would like to go there and maybe thank them personally if I get to meet the Prime Minister. I don't know, but I would like to get there and rub shoulders with them, even if it's just on the street or in a coffee shop. I will have that thankfulness in my heart.
So which skills do you intend to get? Which skills do you intend to get when you go to the UK?
Thank you.
To advance your career.
Thank you so much, John. I'm going to start with my with the academic skills that I feel that I know I am going to get when I go to the UK. I have 3 choices of universities, all within the UK. The first one is University College London, where I currently have a conditional offer, and it's largely because they are awaiting my final year transcript to be presented to them, and then they'll give me the unconditional offer. And in this university, I'd like to study a Master of Science in Biosocial Medical Anthropology. In the entire world, UCL, University College London, is the only university that is focusing on the biosocial and biocultural aspect of medical anthropology. And it is my first choice for that sole reason. So within this university, I'm going to get skills in biocultural and biosocial analysis to be able to advance different health programs and analyze the context within which different things are happening in communities. So with those skills, I know for a fact it's going to be able to advance the aspirations I have. But I also would like to get more knowledge on ethnographic studies, where we study different societies, communities, their cultures, and the way they live. And this is I will largely get this from the University of Oxford, which is my second choice. And this is because University of Oxford, as we all know, is one of the most prestigious globally universities in the entire world. And it has the largest ethnographic center because it has a close link with the Pitts Rivers Museum, which houses that center. And I know that even if I go to UCL or even if I go to Oxford, I'll have access to that center as well, by virtue of being in the UK. I would equally like more skills in quantitative and qualitative research, which will give me which will empower me to be able to realize evidence-based recommendations and programs in health. And this course module is offered in all the 3 universities, but even more so in the University of Edinburgh, which is my third choice. It has a very rich and dynamic course module in research, and you're able to either do both or one of quantitative or qualitative research methods. And I know that this is going to really come so handy when I am advancing different things I would like to do in the community, getting new knowledge and understanding how different people do different things. But at the same time, I know that by virtue of going to the UK, I'll be able to, first of all, live in a multicultural community. Yes, Uganda is a multi-tribal community, but largely it has a higher number of Ugandans. So even while we are multi-tribal, we have that niche, or we have that similarity of being Ugandans. But now the UK will give me an even bigger platform to live in a multicultural community that has different races, different religions, different cultures, different genders. And by genders, I mean, so I know it's going to also give me that skill of understanding different people from different walks of life. And as someone who wants to be a leader, I know for a fact that we continuously interface different people. So knowing how to treat each person differently while respecting their beliefs and their values, those are the skills that I will get from the UK.
Thank you. Okay, do you have any questions for us?
Yes. Yes. I would like to ask the British High Commission. What experience have you had while interviewing different individuals from different ethnicities? How have you managed to be able to present yourself as a welcoming and open person to different people? How do you package yourself to be that person that they all may connect to?
That's a very interesting question. But one thing that usually is my go-to is being empathetic, which is whatever ethnicity I'm talking to, the person. I try my level best to put myself in that person's shoes, and I have found that to be very important because what that does, I get to see everything from that person's perspective. So
one final question for I know that the Chevening Alumni Network for Uganda has recently been launched. What challenges have you faced acquiring connections, especially with the governmental organizations, and how have you dealt with them?
Well, to begin with, you understand.
Yes.
I'm sure maybe when you join us, even bigger force will come and we'll be able to.
I intend to. That's the plan.
yeah, thank you so much, Mariam. It was a pleasure hearing your story and your passion. Yes, so we'll be getting back to you in June. But before that, regarding the university choices, are you okay with the university choices of selection?
Without a doubt.
Great.
Do you confirm that you're returning to Uganda after?
This is home. I love it. I'll be back.
Oh, sure. Yeah, thank you so much. You'll be hearing from us in June. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
Wish you the best. Have a lovely day.